You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. With insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks. No contracts. My apologies for not being here yesterday. Mandatory meeting by the bosses was called, and that is why I was not in attendance. But I am back, ready to roll. And obviously, the lead story, the lead item is James Harden capturing the league MVP honors. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to a man that averaged 30 points a game and led the Houston Rockets to the best record in basketball with a 65-17 record. Got to Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Chris Paul doesn't get hurt. Houston might be champions. Nevertheless, you have people who believe LeBron James should have got the MVP award. You got others who believe Anthony Davis should have gotten an award. Anthony Davis' time will come. I consider Anthony Davis to be one of the elite basketball players, top 3, top 4 in the world. I think that in about 2 years, he will be recognized as the best player in the world. He's that legitimate. He's that big time. Consider the fact that Anthony Davis is a walking 28-12 with no problems whatsoever. Consider that. Consider the fact that he's 6'10" and can guard 4 different positions. His time is going to come. There is no question about that. But here's what I want to say to all of you. Here's what I want to say to all of you right now. I got a real problem with how tough it is for people to understand why LeBron James didn't deserve the award this year. I have a real tough time with that. I want to let the record show that I am fully aware of the kind of year that LeBron James has had. 27.5 points, 9.1 assists, 8.6 rebounds, played in all 82 games during the regular season. I am fully aware of the greatness of LeBron James. I am fully aware of the fact that he's the greatest player in the world. A matter of fact, maybe he's so great that it might be worth pointing out that instead of calling it the most valuable player, it should be the most outstanding player. Because we all know that no one has more value to their team than LeBron James has to his. Okay, fair enough. But it really boggles my mind how some of you out there just don't get it. Just don't get it. And if this was First Take, I'd put up the breaking news tag talking about how LeBron James, great father, great husband, great philanthropist, very charitable, the I Promise Initiative, the LeBron James Family Foundation, the list goes on. I'd bring up all of that. Because God knows we know I have to have a qualifier. Because we know that we can't say anything remotely critical about LeBron James. How dare us? How absolutely positively dare us? What is wrong with us? Why would we think about doing such a thing? What the hell is wrong with us? But I got real problems with some of you out there. I got real problems with some of you out there in terms of your thinking about the MVP. LeBron James did not have Kyrie Irving. Whose fault was that? J.R. Smith and others ultimately went off the rails once Dwayne Wade arrived as a teammate of LeBron's in Cleveland. Whose fault was that? Isaiah Thomas and Crowder and others not necessarily fitting into the grand scheme of things with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Whose fault was that? LeBron James' fingerprints written all over that. Kyrie Irving wanted to be away from him. Dwayne Wade with his teammate and brothers who always felt like close brothers to LeBron James felt differently after Dwayne Wade arrived. I'm not trying to paint LeBron James as a villain here because he's not. What I'm trying to say is the roller coaster ride that the Cleveland Cavaliers went on that ultimately led to them going 50-32. LeBron James' fingerprints were all over that. That's an MVP season to y'all? That's what it is? I'm sorry. That doesn't work with me. Not in the face of a guy that's averaging 30. That was a model of consistency throughout the season. that's been a runner-up the last couple of years, whose season was pretty seamless, and whose team epitomized everything an MVP season is supposed to be about. It is a regular season award. This award is not for the postseason. This is a regular season award, and I'll get to that damn award ceremony in a minute. But this is a regular season award. If it's a regular season award, what's the problem? You trying to tell me over the course of 82 games? You trying to tell me when winning and losing is supposed to be paramount? When you're talking about an MVP, you're not just talking about statistics. You're talking about leadership. I'm not questioning LeBron's leadership overall. I'm saying this season wasn't his best. There's LeBron James fingerprints all over the place that compromised what happened with Cleveland during the regular season. It's a regular season award. Period. And there is no doubt that James Harden deserved it. In 2015, when he lost out to Steph Curry for league MVP honors, they talked about Steph Curry having the best record, having a better team. Now, James Harden has the better record and the better team than Cleveland, but we want to throw that criteria out of the way for LeBron James. My boy Champ that calls into the show all the time constantly laments the fact that we got a bunch of apologists out there who desperately want LeBron James to win or something. He's always the victim. And you know something? I'm starting to believe it. Because no matter how many times you can sit up there 99% of the time and compliment LeBron James, and the second you say something remotely critical, you hating. I had some young lady who was clearly very, very young, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac, met me along with a cast of folks at a dinner last night in Hartford, Connecticut, and before she had a chance to say hello, Mr. Smith, she said, "Why are you hating on LeBron James?" I mean, you've got to be kidding me. So you can have a roller coaster ride. You can get a star and an elite player to want to leave you. You can bring on a future Hall of Famer who you won 2 titles with and went to 4 NBA finals with, who's maybe your best friend outside of your crew. And his arrival provokes you to alienate everybody else around you. All of that leads to a roller coaster ride of extreme proportions during a regular season. And that's your MVP? That's what an MVP is to you? Come on, y'all. Come on. James Harden is the MVP. James Harden is the MVP this season because he had a sensational season, because his team had a sensational season, and because it was devoid of drama and stress along the way. This is the Stephen A. Smith Radio Show. I come to work every day with my producers ready, willing, and able to work with me and for me. If I alienate them, treat them like trash, ultimately create so much friction within the show, but the show still ends up doing well. Oh, that's enough? That's an MVP? That's an MVP performance? My talents, my abilities, and skill sets might be enough to overcome it, but it ain't an MVP performance. I really don't understand how it's so damn hard for people to comprehend. LeBron James had everything to do with the friction and the tumult that existed in Cleveland all year long during the regular season. His performance against Indiana, his performance against Toronto, his performance against Boston, notwithstanding. And those were postseason games. It was not a regular season award. I'm sorry, it was not a postseason award. It was a regular season award. And it was not an MVP caliber season for him. Because it's not just about your numbers. It's not just about getting yours. It's about leading. And he could have done a better job of that. It doesn't mean he won't do it next year. It doesn't mean he hasn't done it before. It just means this particular season, no, he did not do that. And that is why he doesn't get my MVP vote. It belongs to James Harden, and I'm proud that folks saw it that way and gave him the award he so richly deserved. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That's what it's about. And by the way, as Jalen Rose pointed out this morning on the show, Get Up, there's a level of consistency here. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won 6 NBA League MVP awards. Michael Jordan and Bill Russell, I believe, won 5. And LeBron James and Wilt Chamberlain won 4. You trying to tell me Jordan didn't deserve more than 5? You trying to tell me Bill Russell didn't deserve more than 5? You trying to tell me Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a 19-time All-Star, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, the only individual in the history of the sport with one unstoppable move, didn't deserve more than 6? Because seasons determine the award, not your talents and abilities. It's the kind of season you have. It's not just about your numbers. And by the way, let me get to another point. And I want to preface my comment by saying congratulations to TNT for doing the outstanding job it always does. Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, absolutely hilarious. We know what they mean to the sport of the NBA. We know that they work in concert with the NBA. And from a production standpoint, phenomenal job. But it's important that I say this to y'all. It's important that I say this to y'all about this NBA award show. It needs to go. It really, really does. Because I got news for you. When the MVP has to wait until after the season, a Defensive Player of the Year award after the season, a Rookie of the Year and all of this other stuff, did it not just appear incredibly anticlimactic to all of you? You trying to tell me you play 41 home games in front of your crowd, particularly if you make the postseason, and you win the award, and you get to celebrate with a few people you care about, and most of whom you don't, and the cheers pale in comparison to 19+ thousand screaming fans that have been supporting you all season long, and you celebrating inside of a building or a hangar with a couple of thousand people after 19,000 plus people have been coming out to see you 41 nights a year to cheer you on and inspire you to be as great as you were, and you don't get to hoist that trophy in front of them? I mean, come on. Last night, arguably the biggest news coming out of the NBA awards is the fact that Bill Russell gave Charles Barkley the middle finger on national television. Playfully so, I might add. That's about it. And we had some intrigue because we wanted to see who the MVP was going to be. Outside of that, come on. The NBA and the Players Association need to stop. LeBron James wasn't there, hasn't been there. Kevin Durant won that Community Service Award. He wasn't in attendance. 2 greatest players in the world, not in attendance. Probably because they felt it was boring as hell. And I'm not talking about the televised event. I know from a production standpoint and from a television standpoint, it was fine. But you trying to tell me that James Harden would not have rather been in shorts on the court at midcourt with the NBA commissioner speaking to 19+ thousand screaming fans where you could barely hear him as he introduces James Harden as the league MVP and hands him that trophy to hoist above his shoulders in front of those screaming fans at the Toyota Center. You trying to tell me that's not preferred compared to what you saw on TV last night? Can we stop it, please? Can we stop it? See, it's moments like this when you know certain people just never played. Because I got news for you. You can ask players, these multi-million dollar athletes. Ask them about the hair standing up on their skin and the goosebumps they feel throughout their body when they step on a court for big moments in front of a packed house of fans. Ask them what that's like. And then ask them to compare that to what we saw last night. It's not even in the same stratosphere. It's not even in the same ballpark. But that's what people want to do. And if you're going to have an award show, why not just do the damn thing earlier? As soon as the regular season ends or something. Why not delay the playoffs for a week? So everybody that can be there can descend upon whatever respective city we're talking about here so they can have the event and celebrate it that way. Me personally, I can do without it. Because I think that a player should hoist that trophy in front of their fans. I really believe that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. By the way, the other thing that I wanted to get into was Oscar Robertson, NBA Hall of Famer, one of the greatest 50 players in NBA history. Last night at the awards, received the 2018 Lifetime Achievement Award. Dikembe Mutombo received an award for his community service as well. And what he's done for his homeland back in the Congo, building a hospital in his mother's name. Dikembe Mutombo is one of the most beautiful human beings you'll ever meet in your life. It was incredibly touching to see him and examples and footage of him giving back to his homeland. It's just an incredibly touching situation. I can't say enough about him. I've known Dikembe Mutombo for almost 20 years. And no matter what you see from him in terms of his humanitarian efforts and whatever, it's nothing compared to the kind of human being he is. He is a special, special man. I love Dikembe Mutombo. But I also love Oscar Robertson dearly. And when you think about the fight that Oscar Robertson was willing to take on and what he had to take on, you just can't say enough. You really, really can't. Oscar Robertson spoke last night. He also felt the need to touch on issues about athletes getting involved in social issues. Listen to what the great Big O, Oscar Robertson, had to say about that.
The only thing that really bothers me is that where are the white athletes when this is happening? I mean, it's just not a black athlete problem when you see injustice in the world. I mean, it's all around you, and just because LeBron steps out, I'm glad he does. I hope some other players, because this is what they believe. It's not. I mean, what do you want players to do? You know, shut up and dribble. You know, I think there's time for them to say what they want to say about life, say about politics and about things in the street and whatnot, about education, which a lot of the players are doing. They're donating their monies back into different causes and whatnot. But it seems that what we have today is a system where you don't want players to say anything at all, because years ago they didn't say anything because they couldn't say anything. But now I hope I hope the whites and the blacks to get together, even with the football. I mean, what do you think is going to happen when the union gets involved with the owners? You think it's going to be settled real easily? No, it's not. It's going to be nothing but a total mess.
That was the great Oscar Robertson, Hall of Fame Oscar Robertson, speaking out about the need for athletes, and particularly white athletes, getting more involved in social activism. I'm not sure I agree on every single point that Oscar Robertson made. But I will tell you this much. If anybody has a right to say it, and if anybody is going to have good points on this issue, no matter what side of it you fall on, it's going to be the big O, Oscar Robertson. That much I can promise you. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Did you know that with GNC's Auto Deliver and Save, you don't have to worry about missing a daily dose of your favorite vitamins and supplements? That's right. Once you set up your free subscription, GNC takes care of the rest, shipping your products automatically, free of charge, and with 10% off the order. Not to mention, you'll never pay a membership fee, and you can change your order at any time. So stay stocked with GNC's Auto Deliver and Save. Quality shipped, wellness delivered. Visit GNC.com or a store near you to learn more.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people!
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A!
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.